Hello out there and welcome to Public Conscience. This is the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOC. PRIMOC is a civil society organization with a mandate to promote good governance, participation, and accountability in Nigeria. I am Adaobi Obiabumo with Esther Bassi.
Welcome to the program.
On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. We also promote integrity by focusing on the rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals in the course of their normal activities. The MacArthur Foundation supports the production of this program.
Every now and then we hear stories of one form of POS fraud or the other. So today, we will be looking at the increasing cases of fraud threatening points of sales, that is POS business in Nigeria.
The thriving POS business in Nigeria is being endangered by the day. It may begin to witness a more serious dip in patronage if nothing is done to change the narrative of high infiltration of fraudsters and unguaranteed safety of operators and customers. An investigative report by the International Center for Investigating Reporting, ICIR, disclosed.
Since the introduction of POS in Nigeria, it has proven to be a huge relief to citizens in carrying out their day-to-day financial transactions without going to the bank. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, had officially introduced the POS system in 2013 to achieve financial inclusion and develop a cashless economy.
I can tell you it is a big business in Nigeria today, and a lot of people are earning their living off POS businesses. The use of POS for transaction business is convenient, time-saving, and eliminates the stress citizens go through before the advent by the CBN.
Unfortunately, the innovation is not without a challenge, as swindlers and criminals are said to be exploiting the gaps in the system to dent the multi-billion naira business.
Today's program is aimed at drawing the attention of relevant government authorities to the activities of fraudsters who have devised several means of exploiting loopholes in the system to steal from POS operators and users. For you listening to us, we would like you to share your experience with us if you have any. Have you been a victim of POS fraud before? Why do you think cases of POS fraud are on the rise? And do you think the government can tackle POS terminal credit fraud in Nigeria?
Be ready to join us through phone and text messages in the course of the conversation. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. Please indicate your name and your location when sending your message. This is for messages only.
Please begin to send your messages as soon as possible to 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. The numbers to call will be given shortly.
Let me quickly remind you again that a recent investigative report published by the ICIR revealed that fraudsters are on the loose and jeopardizing Nigeria's multi-billion naira POS business.
While many Nigerians are making legitimate income from this business, rising cases of some using it for fraudulent acts to create fake credit alerts to defraud innocent customers is fast denting the transaction channel. And it is worth noting that a total of 686,577 POS terminals were deployed nationwide as of August 2021.
According to Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, the total POS transaction across the nation stood at 6.43 trillion naira in 2021. The development shows high acceptance of digital means of payment has improved in recent times.
And not forgetting that the House of Representatives also recently called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to introduce stringent regulations and sanctions on POS business operators in Nigeria. But joining us to further look at this matter, of public interest is an investigative journalist with the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, Harrison Ether. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
We are also expecting a representative of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, who would hope to join us in the course of the program. And we also have an Abuja-based POS operator, Prince Adewale. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We'll start today's conversation with the ICIR reporter, Harrison Ede. Could you give us an overview of your report and why ICIR took a keen interest on this particular investigation?
Okay, thank you very much. The POS Act, as you had rightly introduced during your preliminary remarks, was an avenue by the Central Bank of Nigeria to enhance and open up financial inclusion so that more Nigerians can come into the financial net, and also lessen the cash economy, introducing the cashless economy. And it has become an avenue for many small scale businesses to do their transaction. So everybody in Nigeria now is aware that POS is a very it has spread like wildfire. Hardly would you move in a street and you don't see POS operators in strategic points at different streets across the country. So it has become an avenue for financial inclusion. So everybody now, instead of standing in the long queue in the bank, people now at just 100 meters walk can easily get the transaction with an operator. So I do that a lot because most times as a journalist you close from work late and you had to get some cash for your personal effects and few things you want to buy. So during the course of my transaction, the journalism instinct now started prodding, and I started making inquiries from the operators. What are the key challenges you are having in this operation? And many of them share their experiences to me. I live in the satellite town in Abuja, and most of the experiences they shared were quite similar. Many of them complained of fake alerts, which is a very, very strategic way that the fraudsters exploit the POS operation. But as a journalist, I decided to go in so that, because there are lots of Nigerians in the SME ladder, and they are at the lower rung of the ladder, and they need to be protected. So I delved into it. I discovered that most of these operators could be losing money from fraudsters if they are not well checked by the government. Government had the intention of making sure that there are more financial inclusion among the people who do the Nigerians. But more importantly is the fact that these POS operators could be losing money from fraudsters who had already given thought ahead of some of the loopholes that they could exploit in the system. So
Okay,
that was
so
what prompted the report that I
It's
did.
the citizens now defrauding the POS operators and not the POS operators defrauding citizens.
From my findings, it's some citizens who do transaction with POS operators that tend to exploit some of the loopholes there.
Okay, from your report, the operators shared their experiences with you.
Yeah.
Could you explain more how their business is being threatened by some citizens?
Well, basically, some of them whom I spoke to narrated their personal experiences. One or two persons, even more persons that I quoted in the report, shared similar experiences, like the fake alert. Now, a consumer can come, a customer can come when he wants to transact with the POS operator, would put forward a transfer. The transfer would be showing in the back end of the app, but may not be showing in the back end of the bank, because the banks are the ones that also license these operators and also help them to be in business. There are also banking agents who also have these POS dished out to these POS operators. So most of them whom I spoke to complained to me that some of them had some app that when they do the transfer, it will show in in the POS operators end of the transaction, but it wouldn't show in the bank that manages the overall financial transaction of the bank. So that made some of them to lose some huge amount of money. So some of them who had learned the tricks of these fraudsters had started, laying less emphasis on transfers and doing more of POS operation. So when you come with your POS, when you come with your ATM card, you slot it in, they see the transaction clear and they transact with you. But when you come with transfer, some of them resist you because there could be some smart approach that can make the operator to see it, but the bank end of the app wouldn't see it. So these are some of the concerns that I discovered from the operators, and I had to quickly put it down in my research that I did and the report I did.
Okay, thank you for that background there, but it's good enough that we have a POS operator here. Prince Adewale, you're welcome again to the program.
Thank you for having me here.
How long have you been in this business?
It's 2 years.
Have you had any of the experiences shared where citizens defraud POS operators?
Yes, of course, yes, many times.
Could you share one of those experiences that you had?
When I just started the first time, like the first year, I had a lot of issue with fraudsters. First thing was they come with fake alerts, which are a lot of money on that. Amount of money that I can't even mention.
Is it during transfers?
Yes, transfers. So after then, before I got to know that, okay, this thing I'm not going to take any transfer anymore from anybody, whatever. Now they come with, I don't know if they are Yahoo boys or something. They'll just come to you. They will drive far away from your shop, and someone will come to you and say that he wants to do a withdrawal. And they will mention 100K. And after you do it, you know how much you pressed from your POS. You know it very well that you pressed 100,000 naira. By the time you give them to input their PIN, I don't know how they do it. They will go back and erase some zeros from the amount you pressed. And by the time you do it, you just press and see that approved and just give them the money and they will leave. So that also happens to me until I caught one person.
If I got you clearly,
yes,
from you, the operator, when
yes,
they request for 100,000,
yes,
you would key in 100,000
yes,
on your device.
Yes.
But they smartly, when you're not watching,
yes, very fast,
delete one of the zeros.
Yes, like 2 or 3 zeros from them. It might be 10 naira. They will leave them.
So instead of 100,000. You will be debited 10 naira, but you will give
naira,
them cash
100,000.
worth 100,000.
Yes, many times happens. So the last one that happens, still the same thing was still regarded, but thank God I was there myself, because I was with my wife on that day and we were both there, and the guy just do it, and I was just there, and the guy actually go and invest everything and put 100 naira there from 36,000 naira, and he puts on it, and I caught him. The next night I just see one of them drove the car with speed and picked him up and zoom away. So all those things are like that, and we also see many of my colleagues too that will be attacked by that. Would I call them armed robbers or whatever? With gunpoint, many times in POS stands. And they will lose all their money, and today say that many of them will have to close their shop and not doing POS, and they will have to go back to the square one again. So we are facing a lot, and we talk about POS aspects.
Okay.
We are facing a lot.
Okay, so when these things happen, when you started experiencing these things, is it like a channel you report to, or you just have to bear it all by yourself, upon starting your POS business?
To be honest, for me, I have not reported to anybody because I know how the country is. Like recently, not quite up to 3 weeks, I just went to bank, cashed my money from my bank, and they followed me, not knowing that they were following me. I packed my car, leave the money just to cross to see a friend, and I parked in front of my shop. I just went to see a friend just to because I think something bad happens to them, just to go and say hello, and so that I can enter the car and drive back to my office. The next thing I will see, I just went not up to 10 minutes. They spoiled the car, opened the car, took the money, and this is a place where people were working and they know me very well in that place. It's more than 11 years I've been in that place.
Okay, so this one is not your POS experience. It's just some criminals.
Yes, going
robbers
from
who
bank.
followed
Yes.
you from the bank
Yes.
to your house or your office.
Yes.
Okay, so you've painted a scenario where people come in and delete aside fake alerts.
Fake alert, yes.
Then they delete some of the zeros from the device.
Yes.
Is there any other way that they manipulate the system?
I wouldn't have known because, you know, Nigerian guys are very smart. And how they do these things, I don't know, to be honest. In fact, I had to before, I had to close it. Because that one, I don't know, because it was, I didn't make anything. I lost all the money, I had to close it down. Up till now. Because of these things. But by the time you know, you do it, you will see that the money entered, but it's not, my bank are not seeing it, but I'm seeing it in my own end. Like now, if they do a transfer to you now, you will see it in your bank. You will see, and the next thing you will see, sometimes it will reverse back to the person, and we'll call the bank. I'll go and meet them. This will happen. We'll take everything there, and they will say they don't know what to do, and they can't help you. And that's how you lost that kind of money, you know. So it's very painful, to be honest.
Okay, so what other weaknesses have you observed in the system, that is the current system, that needs to be strengthened against these fraudsters? And you said you've not been complaining to anybody, so
no, yes,
you've witnessed weaknesses in this system. So what other ones do you think needs to be strengthened against these fraudsters?
Number one is when we catch them, we want the police to also assist us. We actually want them to assist us, because imagine when someone stole your money and you want to still be paying in the whatever, paying for something. So you know it's not nice. So please, I would like the police to assist us. When we call them, they should answer us immediately, so that they can apprehend them. Because the one I said about to me now, I don't know if they have gone, because they actually have gone, of course, and many have been stabbed doing these things. So and number two is that the POS owners should be very careful also on how people comes to them and they do transaction with them. You should be very careful and watchful also. And now when they do a transaction with you, look at your receipt. Make sure the money is complete, like the zeros are there. Because many times that I said they used to go and delete it. So you look at your paper very well. Is it okay? Because that's how I've got to capture about 4 of them now. That I will check my distance very well. I will make sure okay, it's there, and I will see that some zero has been cleaned, and they will say they are not the one. I'm the one that pressed it. So you know these things are like that. So please, everybody should be careful. Everybody should be watchful, and not every one self you do to transactions with. Because I've been in a place where I've been arrested that I could have sent me to prison, or because someone came to withdraw from me, and he's a criminal. I didn't know this is a big man. He came with a big car, with an elderly man, for crying loud, and he came to withdraw 200,000 naira in my shop. So I would have known someone with great headed and good looking with a good car, and I was arrested. So all these things too, we need to look into it.
It is not written on the forehead that XYZ person has the tendency to dupe or defraud an individual. But let's speak with the reporter again, Harrison Ether. Why do you think cases of POS fraud are on the rise, and why is the loophole seemingly difficult to block?
Well, in my own, given my insight as a journalist, the regulators and the policy makers, because when you make policy is for the people. There should be a policy audit. There should be a way that the central bank monitors, a kind of get some feedbacks from some of its policies. I know they do, but on this very one, I want them to also intensify efforts on that. If you bring out a policy, there must be a strategy to audit that policy and how it's it has affected the lives of the people, because policy is for the people. So when you don't do that audit, this is a technology era. The guys that are tech savvy will exploit any loophole that they see in the system. So it's for the policymakers to always think ahead of the policy they make, and from time to time do evaluation and audit of its policies and how it affects the people, so that they can, from that feedback, make similar laws or similar policies that would take care of any loophole that had been exploited in the system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Etsa, it's time for us to get the person listening to us to join the conversation.
Please follow us on our social media platforms at Official Primorg. Primorg is spelled Primorg, and remember that we are streaming live on Facebook at Official Primorg.
And remember that this program is interactive. The WhatsApp line to send your message to is 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. Please begin to send your messages immediately. How would you react to the conversation? We would like you to share your experience with us if you have been a victim of POS fraud before. And why do you think cases of POS fraud are on the rise? And how can the government tackle POS terminal credit fraud, which is on the rise in Nigeria going forward? Hello?
Yes, my name is Jacob. I'm calling from Abuja.
Let's hear you, Jacob.
Yes, I've been listening to your program. You see, I'm a POS operator. I want to ask, in a situation when somebody came to do a withdrawal and he was being debited, some of them will use some of God to beg you that you should give them the money, and then that if they happen to reverse the money, they will bring it back. Or some will even tell you that maybe that is the last card they have in their account. That please, you should help them and give them the money. Once they reverse it, they will just, quickly come and pay you back. But some of them, when they reverse the money, you'll be following them, calling them, you will not even see them again. In that case, what do you do?
Oh.
What I want to find out, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Just keep listening to the program.
Okay.
Hello?
My name is Sonny from Gariki.
Let's hear you, Sonny.
Please, I have an issue of that US last time, but I don't use it to business. I'm not using it for my own business. So it happened that they stole my wife's phone, and after they took my wife's phone, so my wife called me. I told her that she should go and withdraw the whole money in POS. So I now transferred the whole money to my account. But later on, in the morning, this thing happened in the evening time. Later on in the morning, we see that they have carried my wife's SIM card and borrowed money. Borrowed almost 1 million something for the card, for the POS, because they don't see any money there. So we went to OPay, this OPay POS. We went to OPay so that we ratify the business. OPay said that they can't do that we are the people that borrowed the money. I said, no, we have never requested for any loan. Why should this be so?
Okay, but you said your wife's phone was stolen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it could be that somebody used her phone number to take a loan?
The SIM card.
Yes, so it is not the POS operator. Maybe it is not the POS operator that did that.
I know, but it's through the company of that POS, that OPay POS. Understand? They just, take my address of my wife, everything, her own contact, and borrowed money, and went and go and withdraw almost 400,000 before we now came to report to the OPay office. They said that it can't be possible that we are the one that borrowed the money. We said no. How can you approve money that we did not know about it? And we have never requested for any loan from our office.
Okay, wrap up in 30 seconds.
For the POS.
Okay, thank you so much. We have another call here. Let me quickly take this. Hello.
I'm Joshua Jeremiah. I'm calling you from Blue Room here in Abuja.
Okay, let's hear you, Joshua.
All right, a quick one for the asthma. Mr. Journalist, please, I don't know if I can just talk to him if he's there, ma'am.
He's listening to you. He can hear you.
Please, we should just add this to it. On each transaction, on each press on the POS, it can be encrypted, or it should be, or it can be requested for that. On each press, they should come with a password which is unique to the operator only. So if, let's say, for instance, the operator inserted the amount, give it to the person, and at the time the person is trying to go back and there is a password on it, he's trying to erase whatever he wants to erase, and he's trying to come back to where he's going to put this thing, there must be a request for a password. That is one.
Okay,
now,
so just
come up with something else again.
okay, just hold on so that we get you clearly. You said that on each transaction there should be a password.
Each press.
Each press.
Password, yes, on the POS.
Is it already on the POS, or it's something
That can be requested for. It's not already.
it can be requested for? Oh, okay.
So it can be worked and it can be encrypted on all the POS device, or it can be upgraded to that format.
Okay, thank you.
Once it's pressed, you give it to the person to press. He's trying to go back to edit and come back.
It will request for a password.
I can operate a phone without looking at the button, and I will type whatever I want to type. I am that fast with it. I'm just trying to say. I'm not the first I do, but I'm just trying to tell you that people are fast, like very, very fast.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So the second thing is, when those guys can always come up with something like, you think, and there's an application for it to be made to make it. Now, each POS taking money, the money should not be on that POS at all points in time. There should be probably another way of putting any incoming money into another account, such that you are using this account, you are using this POS is receiving the money, you have another POS in case you want to do anything transfer. So two POS can always be provided, one for transfer, basically for transfer, and that is where all the money from the other POS is coming to. And then the other one can just be used for this receiving only. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, two POS devices, one for transfer and then one for inflow.
Yes, ma'am. So the other one control all the money incoming to the POS, while the other one take in only. So by so doing, if you are coming with a card that is one, to come and wipe your own POS money into that account, and they will leave to go withdraw from somewhere else, there will be zero there on that account that you are trying to wipe.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution.
All right, ma'am. God bless you.
Thank you. You have heard what he said. These are ways for you to mitigate some of these loopholes. But in your earlier submission, you talked about the grey-haired man who tried to defraud you and all of that, and you were arrested. What happened?
That certain day, the man withdrew the money and went away, not knowing that the man is already a criminal, which they've been looking for a long time. And I was told it's an ex-policeman. He has a gun and has or whatever that a police should have. So I was arrested, and the police didn't. The funniest thing is that they didn't come to me like coming to know what really happened or I did, because the person that this man took the ATM from, he actually is at the gunpoint. So the man has to release his ATM and gave me his PIN. In fact, they went to the ATM and tried the PIN and making sure that the PIN is genuine. So they thought this old man came to my shop and withdrew 400,000 naira.
So he stole someone's card.
Yes.
And used the card on your POS.
On my POS. So after that, after like a month, I saw a police looking for me, and they were just trying to hide, like say I'm a criminal, you know, and they were trying to say, okay, they are a friend of my business partner that he sent them to me to come and for them to come and do a business with me. And I told them I don't do business with strangers that I don't know. If you want to come to my shop and do business.
So after the investigation, they found out that you were not the one who stole the card.
They actually want to put it on me, to be honest. Like I must pay the money to the owner back. Which I said, I'm a POS owner, I don't know how this thing happened and whatever. But to be sure, I had to be calling and everything down. So everything went down, and they told me if I see the person again, I should bring the person to them or call them. So since then, I've not seen the person.
Okay, it's good that you were able to clear your name. Let's take this other call. Hello.
Okay, my name is Fayo. I'm calling from Abuja.
Let's hear you.
Okay, I feel that there should be this transaction thing that someone initiating a POS transaction should get. You get the thing on your phone. For instance, take for instance, when you look at iPhone, if you are trying to use an iPhone or you're trying to enter Google on a particular system, see that it's one where your register phone, you should just say and click here. Or you can just go there and click here, you allow that transaction to happen. So that even if you have someone else's card, you don't have the opportunity to use that card, except you have a person's phone. In most cases, that is always not the case. So if you don't have a person's card, I know it's person's phone, because transaction allows access to on every transaction on the POS. That's number one. Number two, that I also feel that our banks are comfortable. I feel that the banks should allow much more than 10,000 naira or lower on an ATM for the sake of God. I don't know. I know they want to make money. Someone wants to withdraw 30,000. You want to collect it 5 to 20.
Okay. Sorry, we lost that call there. But if I got you clearly, the banks should be more stringent to ensure, and he said more responsible, so that when you go to use the POS or ATM, you can transact more than, or you can withdraw a huge amount so that you don't have to repeat the process. Because it is as a result of the frustrations of queuing that people have turned to POS transaction or point of sales for their transaction. Okay, while we're researching on this topic, I also I saw a report by some newspaper houses like the Premium Times and Daily Trust, where they reported this similar case of individuals defrauding POS operators. So what happens is that, like you said, the fake alerts, they show you that they have been debited, but they use a firewall application, which Harrison mentioned earlier. From their own end, it shows that they are debited.
Yes.
But they use this application to reverse the transaction. They call the bank and say, oh, I have done this, it's a mistake, the money is reversed. They quickly withdraw the money. Meanwhile, the POS operator is losing.
Yes.
And like you said, you have not reported to the police. But someone has also, one of the callers here, gave us an option of how to mitigate some of this. That you can request that your POS device be encrypted such that there are passcodes for every press. So it will be difficult for that person who wants to delete 1 or 2 zeros, like he said earlier. Because for you to delete that, you will request for a password.
Yes.
And then you will know that this person is fraudulent or has intentions to commit fraud.
Okay, let's move to Harrison. So what has been the reaction of authorities like the Central Bank of Nigeria after your report was published? And what are you going to do to ensure that this investigative report does not go unnoticed?
Okay, thank you very much. From the listening to people who called in, I had also picked in some points that could be developed further. Like the person that talked about encryption of each transaction, it makes a whole lot of sense, because that is a mitigating measure. So I believe the authorities are listening. We wouldn't tell them to do their works; they are paid to do their work, but the most important thing is that they are listening and they are taking note. Like I said earlier, there is what is called policy audit. When you release a policy, from time to time, you go back to evaluate how does it affect the people whom you have met this policy for. I just listened to your news on 10 before we started this program about how the World Bank latest report about 95 point something million people going into poverty. And we've had so many policies since this administration came in. We've had the trader money, we have all manner of policies. So it's an onus on the government from time to time to do evaluation. How does this policy, affect the people that you've made it for?
So they've not been such monitoring.
There is, because from the bank, the central bank regulates the banks, and the banks also regulate this, monitor these POS guys. But from the latest development, it appears that there are some gaps that they really need to fill up in terms of like the encryption, the one of the caller talked about, encrypting each transaction so that it has a code such that if there is any fraudulent practice, it raises an alert or the code rejects the transaction.
But then he said it has to be requested.
Let's take this call.
Okay.
Hello.
You see this ATM or POS is being caused by the government of Nigeria. Why do I say so? Especially CBN people. That they want to regulate the activities of all banks in Nigeria. The activities of banks are under them. I don't know, according to what we are taught in the secondary school. I don't know whether in reality it's not like that. But what are they doing? Did they just issue POS without precautionary measures? What people are complaining? What have they done? They keep quiet. They are not sanctioning anybody. Do you know that in my place now, First Bank, they don't operate with the ATM. Saturday, people are suffering, but you see POS around the places which are owned by the workers of that financial institution. Is that how it's supposed to be? We are keen for fueling. We are keen for no energy.
But how are you sure that this PO, if you can hear me?
The promise. Is that how we are going to continue? Is it prayer that we solve this one, or the government to take the action?
Okay. Thank you so much for your contribution, but you cannot categorically say that some of these POS operators are owned by individuals from these banks. Hello?
You see, this issue about the POS, like the previous callers, what they say, they actually talked to them. The issue I'm having right now, would like us to talk about is, like 2 days ago, I tried to pay power because I'm a POS operator. The customer came and wants to buy some power like NEPA that should recharge his meter for 6,000 naira. After doing that, what happened was I wasn't given the token, so the money was deducted from my account. So I kept calling the customer care line. I called like 7 times and all of that. So the later told me at the end of it that about 4 days later that why they didn't give me the token is because that particular meter that I paid to is owing, is on debt.
Really?
Yes, so, yes, it's on debt, and as it is, the customer is gone. So imagine now, my money is hanging there. I don't just know how to get it. I believe there should be a way whereby if the meter is owing, the meter office, they should give us the signal like, okay, this meter is owing. In case if you pay, you won't be able to get the token. We should have the notification like that. Not that you just pay and you didn't get the token, the customer, because if you didn't get the token, the customer won't.
The customer will not. Did the customer pay?
Yeah. No, the customer hasn't even paid. It is when you generate the token, give them the token, then they give you the money that the money they are using to buy the power.
So your money is hanging as we speak.
You understand? So at least we should have a notification if you want to pay for such things. Okay, this also meter you want to pay for is going. So you won't be giving it, what do you call it? You won't be able to generate the token for it. So you show the customer, this is the one who's going to pay it. That's fine. If he doesn't want to pay it, then you can just go.
Okay, but maybe you could also ask the customer if that meter is owing before you generate code for that.
Yeah. It's after this transaction that I got to know that, okay, my eyes are really clear on that. Initially, I've been doing it for a while and I never encountered such problem. Okay. But at least from the end of the POS company, we should have things like that to make us see before we pay.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Prince, you were nodding while he was giving his own, sharing his experience.
Yes.
But is it the responsibility of the company, that's the POS company now, not you, to alert you, the operator, that a particular meter is owing?
Okay, I would quickly like to respond to that. Now, it's also their responsibility to alert us. But if you are not alerted, and you do all, you you try to buy a meter and later you didn't get the token, the person has to pay you. In the first place, I've never experienced anybody go with my money.
I mean, you said the person, that's the customer has to pay.
The customer has to pay you because you are paying for the customers. For the customers outstanding. I don't know you. I don't have to pay for you.
So has there been like any platform that would alert you if such case happen? Like
some banks alert you as you are typing the store whatever and are supposed to click. They will tell you this person is owing by 200,000 naira, 250.
Mm-hmm.
Some banks do that, but some POS like other POS, normal POS, they might not alert you. But if that happens,
the customer should pay.
The customer has to pay and go to and rectify with the
let's take this.
AEDC.
Okay, hello.
Basically, the ICT is vast, so I would rather suggest for everybody that wants to operate POS because it's another means of job opportunity in the country. We cannot deny that. It cannot be scrapped. Now, since we are having the first thing is anybody that wants operate this thing must have this ICT knowledge. Now, there is what we call pay before service. Everything like this, when it comes to people like that, the person in question is aware that the power he or she is owing and definitely came to do that intentionally. So when it comes to stuff like that, they should please put it on the pay before service policy. Yes. And meanwhile, these things can always come with a technology whereby the POS operators are not just operating on their POS only. When you are making payment out of your account, you should have a platform whereby you'll be able to track everything you are doing. For instance, this person, when he was trying to pay for that power, if it was a device like on the system, maybe an app or a phone, this person might have known and see that there is a minus on this meter before making this transaction. So all of these things should be put into consideration by those people that are operating it. I was a victim before because I do operate POS before and I lost a lot before leaving the school.
So you we can hear you.
Yeah. So all of those things are part of it. There was a time that before I started operating, I withdraw with my card, I was debited, and I didn't see my money. The POS should steal my money. I went to the bank to complain. They asked me to fill the form. Till this is over 4 years now. I didn't receive my money. I didn't receive anything.
Okay, quite unfortunate, but thank you so much for your contribution. Prince Adewale is nodding and taking all the points. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our time is almost up, but if you can quickly take this last call. Hello? Yes, good morning. You have 1 minute, please. You are our last caller for the day.
My name is John. I'm calling from the Center.
Let's hear you, John.
Okay, yes. Speaker, I want to talk about what the man you just said. That I will just be straight about it. That you should collect your money, or money should be paid before service will be rendered and all of that. Yes, it works in most cases, but I don't think very, very correct if you want to begin to handle your customers in that way. So I would have supported what the other guy said, that a platform should be, or an app should be, that can show you there's a minus on the meter. I think myself as a study, I rented an apartment which I never knew that the meter had an issue, and I went to AEDC to buy power. And we bought power and the token was not released, and they were telling me to pay the money. Why will I want to pay such money? I was ready to cutlass anybody there. I wasn't going to release my.
Okay, thank you, but please do not cutlass anybody. Your points are noted.
Okay, so just go to Harrison in 1 minute. So what will be your advice to the government on putting in stringent measures to term fraudulent acts against POS businesses in Nigeria?
In 1 minute because of our time.
Okay, thank you very much. Government needs to be more proactive. They need to think ahead. These guys are smarter. They are smarter in the sense that they are tech savvy. This is an era of technology. Most of them do research on how to manipulate some of these things. So the government needs to be ahead, not playing from the behind. They need to be ahead, such that its policies should be able to address from time to time some of these problems that we unravel in our report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then Prince Adewale, What is your request to the federal government and the CBN on making the needed intervention to curb fraudsters from attacking POS businesses? In 1 minute, because
Thank you
of
very
our
much.
time.
I would like the government to assist us by looking into this fraudulent act, because many of us are losing a lot of money, and this is a job opportunity where youth are making money from right now, and government should support us also. Maybe when we go and report to the police, there should not be any asking of money or whatever. And please, and the police also should look into it very well and do their necessary job. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. We really must go because our time is up.
Please visit the news page of our website, primognews.org. That is primognews.org for all the details of our reports and interviews. Visit our website, www.primog.org, to get all the information about Primog.
And you can watch our videos on Primog TV, our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post. We sincerely appreciate our guest, the investigative journalist with the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, Harrison Ede. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank
And
you.
our appreciation also goes to an Abuja-based POS operator, Prince Adewale. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Public Conscience has the support of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfound.org.
Join us again here next week for another episode of Public Conscience, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram @officialprimog. I am Esther Bassi.
And remember that birth registration and birth certificates are both free if your child is under 18. Help stop the corruption in the birth registration. Do not pay for birth certificates. And also remember that you can give us information or hint about corrupt acts through our phone 0902-265-6167 or info@primog.org. I am Adaobi Obiabumo. Please stay safe.